This is the hardware simulator, and in order to use it, we have to first of all load an HDL program into the simulator, and we do it by clicking this icon here. So let us do it, and we see that we are in the NAND to Tetris folder. So within this folder, we're going to select projects, and within projects, we'll select project 0. And we see that we have a single HDL file here, so let us select it. This is the XOR file that we discussed before. And we loaded the chip into the simulator. Now, the pane at the bottom left right here gives me a display of the file that I just loaded. I can scroll back and forth. It's not separate. It's not terribly useful, but this pane is actually just a read-only display. There's no way to actually change the code when you are inside the simulator. If you want to change the code, you have to do it using an external text editor, and then you have to reload, of course, the file that you changed and saved elsewhere. So let us assume that we are happy with this file, and I want to actually simulate the chip logic. Well, I do this by, first of all, looking at the current input values, and we see that the default values of the A and B inputs of the XOR chip happen to be 0. So if I want, I can go ahead and change one of them or both of them to some other values. So let us change A to 1, and let us change also B to 1. And notice that nothing yet happened. In order to see how the chip responds to these changes, I have to reevaluate the chip logic. And I do it by clicking this icon here, the calculator icon. So let us do it. And we see that once we click this icon, the output becomes 0. And indeed, XOR of 1 and 1 is 0. If we want to see some other possibilities, we can once again manipulate one of the input pins, click the calculator, and we see that the XOR now emits 1 instead of 0. Another thing that we can do is inspect the values of the internal pins, which gives us yet another level of scrutiny, in particular when we try to debug the chip and understand why it is misbehaving for some reason. So this has been a very brief description of the first thing that you do when you use the simulator. You load the chip, you play with the input pins, you inspect the outputs and the internal pins, and this is the ABC of chip debugging and testing. I wish to remind you in closing that if you want to change the chip logic, you have to edit the HDL file using some external text editor, save the new file, reload it into the simulator, and rerun the tests in order to test the new chip design.